All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to SnowTALK, the blog today on this 18th of February. Hope you all are doing well on this snowy Thursday morning. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. It's a live view behind me outside. I'll show you that here in just a second. As this band of snow we've been tracking across the southern areas of Indiana is really a precursor to what will be coming our way for later on tonight. And then one more additional wave as we get into late tomorrow night and early on Thursday. And then we'll at least get a small break. And then the cold weather certainly would become one of the bigger headlines. All right, welcome to the blog. As always, everyone's still filtering in. As always, you can comment on the social media side. If you're watching the streaming side, you will not, unfortunately, see a lot of the comments that I'm referring to, but I will try to mention them out loud as we go along with the blog update. I know you all have a lot of questions. I'm already seeing how much snow here, how much snow there, how much am I going to get? Am I going to get more than expected? Will I get less than expected? How much will I get here? So I get it. You guys have a lot of questions about how much, right? So what I'm going to do is always just one step at a time, give you the current layout, and then we're going to just go through this in a chronological order of how this is going to play out each and every hour for the rest of the day, all the way through your Thursday. As I show the maps, pay attention to where you're at. If you don't know exactly where you are, then pick out a city close to you to give you an idea of where you are in relation to that. There are a lot of you in here, though, so I'm not going to be able to answer all those individual questions. I'm sorry. Just too many people, and my eyesight is horrible, so I can barely even see. I can see some of the emojis. Some, not all of them. Some I don't think I can put on the air anyway. So here we go. Let's start with the snowboard. This is where we, of course, track the potential for any additional snowfall that'll be coming our way. We have the early snow that's happening now. We have the steady snow that'll be back into the area in a much more widespread fashion tonight into about midday on Wednesday, maybe earlier. It may come to an end. The late Wednesday into Thursday, signal is there for snow showers, even a few snow squalls, although the snow squall potential may be more east than within wave country. I'm still working on that finer detail. And there is a wave on Saturday, but right now, I think that wave will be relatively minor. I'll show you why in a second. We get toward the end of the month. That is where we have a little bit different of a weather change in the pattern, but not a whole lot different. Not the way that I'm sure a lot of you are hoping for as far as a surge of a lot of warm air. It's a little more complex. Back to that rain or snow talk again as we head into the end of February and early March. As I said, one step at a time. So far today, we have picked up 0.2 of an inch of snow. Now, that is updated only every 6 hours. So we're not going to get another update on that report from earlier this morning until later on this afternoon. So you're like, wait a minute, I got a little more than that, right? You probably do. And we'll just have to go with some of the reports we're getting from you guys as you are measuring the snow. Just make sure to clear off any snow from the weekend that still may be there. Try not to measure both. As you won't get an accurate number. We need that accurate number to help us out. And then once this round of snow, it's up to you. If you want to do calendar day, you can keep measuring, or if you want to wipe it clean and then remeasure for the one tonight, actually the safest way to do it, that helps us out as well. Let me show you what it looks like right now into the weather garden. Yeah, I'll be standing out there coming up in just a few hours from now. I don't know if it'll still be snowing like that or not, but that's where I'll be. And only barely a hint of Olaf is still there on top of that rock in the middle of the screen. Such a dry snow. Olaf is going to need some work, I think, to come back into play. But very pretty scene. But again, it can make it quite slick. And it's been a steady snow for a while. Let me show you what our area cameras look like across the area right now. This is looking at Corydon, Indiana. Snow decently there. All the cars are covered, as well as a lot of the roadways, sidewalks. Be careful. Even the main streets are getting covered. Salt is working right now to the best of its ability. I haven't seen a whole lot of slide offs. It is slick, don't get me wrong, but not exactly compacted with ice just yet. It's not quite deep enough for that, but still, it's the turns, it's the stopping, it's accelerating. That's when things get a little slick. So just use some caution out there. Take it slow, and you'll be just fine there. Okay. So that's one of our area cameras. I was trying to show you the others, but unfortunately, they're not looping on me there. But I'll try to get that fixed for you guys coming up a little later on here. All right. So we've got this current band of snow, and it's falling into air that is quite cold, teens, lower 20s. Salt is about to lose its effectiveness at that level. So really, it's the calcium chloride they're having to use to try to treat a lot of the roads and a little bit of plowing too. Although the snow's not exactly deep enough really for a lot of plowing. Some companies are doing so in parking lots, but main roads may be a little more of a challenge without trying to tear the road up either, because we do have potholes that are still out there, of course. But it's obvious whatever is falling is sticking, and it's obvious whatever's falling is not going anywhere anytime soon. So this morning's round that we're dealing with is only got a couple more hours of a lifespan to it. We've been tracking amounts that have been very close to that quarter to 1 inch mark. I think we're going to get a few more of the half inch, 1 inch totals. They're going to be found very close to the Louisville area and back into southern Indiana. I know some of you north of this band have already picked up, in some cases, a half inch or even up to an inch. I'm talking about from here on through noon. This is the potential band. Very questionable on the southern side because this band itself is about to run out of gas and will just fade away off the radar before the round for tonight becomes the main show stealer coming our way. So this is not technically, it's a distant piece of what's coming our way, but it's not the full system. This is the appetizer, which is already pretty impressive, right? Here's what it looks like on the radar. You can see that darker blue and purple showing up right along 64. I doubt much of this south is reaching the ground. If it is, it's flurries, and already tapering off the flurries on the US 50 side into Indiana. So it's roughly the interstate right into Louisville is where we've got your more steady snowfall, and at times a moderate snow. You see it does pick up a bit in southern areas of Harrison County. We hold on to that. That should be snowing pretty good right now in Valley Station, PRP area, heading to Mount Washington very soon. Okolona, Highview, perhaps Shepherdsville will pick up as well. A quick coating of snow, an additional coating as this passes on by. So it's, again, very much lined up with the interstate, but also sinking to the south slowly but surely before fading away. So if you're in Taylorsville and Shepherdsville and you haven't seen a whole lot of them flurries yet, you should notice the snowfall pick up and the flakes get larger as well as it passes on by. For those of you to the north, you should start to see a little more of a decrease here very soon as this begins to fade away. Now, what the Weather Service is doing to treat this band differently than the one tonight, it's a separate winter weather advisory that is out for roughly that zone I just showed you, right along the 64 corridor, give or take a row of counties north or south. This winter weather advisory will be out until the 1 o'clock window for today. Use some caution again traveling, especially if you're going to be out on area roadways that have not seen a lot of treatment yet. That's where you're going to run into some of those slick spots, especially bridges and overpasses. We've already had several crashes already today, especially in the Lee Hamilton. Ran into issues there with a crash very close to I-65, and even the Waterston Expressway has had some issues as well this morning. So take it easy as you venture out between now and the lunch hour. Better ability to travel around today once the snow eases back and we start to get a little more treatment to the area road. So that is the first winter weather advisory. So what is next? Well, here comes the next system already developing back into areas of Kansas and Oklahoma. This has been the same battle too that we've had all week. Is the idea of how this low moves off to, there's really a surface low a little further south on the Gulf Coast. But the energy in general is tracking here across the deep south part of the country. Now, earlier in the week and even a week ago, we've been seeing signs of the coastal low that will take over. This is a typical, what we call a transfer, that will surrender its energy over to the new low on the eastern seaboard near Washington, D.C. This part of the forecast has been wavering a bit on just how much of a full transfer there will be. And if there's not much of one, then the system that rolls in from Texas and Oklahoma this evening will be able to hold a pretty good punch as it crosses into Kentucky and Tennessee, especially. If the transfer is a little more rapid and to the mid-Atlantic states, then we will see our portion of the storm begin to fade and relax. It won't go all the way as far as disappearing off the map. It will just reduce snowfall amounts, and then they re-enhance again as this low takes over, which could still impact East Kentucky. They could still get the backlash of some of the heavier amounts. So you got heavy amounts for sure where the snow is developing now, especially in the Ozarks. And you're going to get heavy amounts where this new low is going to develop. The question continues to be, what will happen for Kentucky and Tennessee? And even this close in time, less than 12 hours away, and the data is still not quite sure how the two will interact. And small amounts of moisture will matter here because it's so cold, it's Arctic air, that snow ratios are high, meaning basically you can get more bang for your buck there when it comes to getting a fluffier snow out of small amounts of moisture, which would normally be just an area of light rain on a typical Tuesday afternoon. In this case, could be several inches of snow. Same amount of moisture, just in a colder profile, you end up with snow and you end up with a decent snow accumulation. So those small amounts of moisture matter as well. And that has been wavering about 1/10 of an inch. That may not seem like much at all, just 1/10 of an inch of liquid, but that 1/10 of an inch is the equivalent of roughly about 2.5 to 3 inches. So we lose 1/10 of an inch. All these snow totals I'm about to show you in the forecast, you got to subtract 2 to 3 inches from your amount. Versus the other flip too. If we end up with a little more, say an additional 1/10 of an inch of liquid, you may have to add 2 to 3 inches to the totals that I may be showing you. Now, what we've done is try to do that math for you when you see our hand-drawn maps coming up here and account for not exactly the worst case scenario, but the higher end of the number, because models tend to underplay moisture levels in this scenario, as we're already seeing today. Last night, actually yesterday at this time on the blog, this was showing up, but it was giving us barely anything at all that was measurable, and we're getting 1 inch totals coming in. So we already can tell that the models are a little off here on the amount of moisture that's in the air presently. As they tend to do in Arctic air, they squeeze out. Arctic air just, I mean, it's like a sponge, just squeezes out as much as it possibly can, and you can get your fluffier snows that way. They're easier to manage, by the way. They do blow around at times, so there's not going to be a lot of strong wind. Initially, they'll blow around the roads. You may have noticed that even traveling this morning if you had to venture out. It's easier with a shovel or even a broom in many cases to clean off your car. So you don't have it caked on your car. You don't have that layer of freezing rain and the sleet like we had in January. So while it's the biggest potential winter storm here that we've had since then, it's arriving in a different type of atmosphere than what we had that very first big one that kind of just set the stage for a miserable January for us. This one, no doubt, it's going to be rough the next few days. It will not be as high impact on that end, okay? But still, slick, and I still think we're going to still have more school closings to come. Okay, enough on that. There's the storm developing. Here are the alerts that are out for the next round that's coming our way, and you can see the winter storm warning, pretty expansive. It covers the Ozarks, and then you see where the new low is going to be developing here. Weather Service is going to continue the winter storm warning across Kentucky, holding on to the idea that at least 4-inch amounts can be found as it makes that journey across the state, but the potential is certainly there for higher than that. Again, when you plus or minus those moisture levels I just referred to. The sharp cutoff is still there, although it's not as sharp of a cutoff as what it looked like even last evening. So this looks like a pretty widespread head of snow of some sort. I mean, if you're getting those of you to the north that may get the lower end number tonight, hey, you're getting snow now. So everybody will get something on the ground with all this action going on across the Ohio Valley before this week is over with. The entire region is going to be coated in snowfall. So it's going to be hard to get missed in this type of scenario. Just some of you have a bigger snow than others, and that's, I know, what a lot of you on here are wanting to know. Will it be me or not? Closer view of that warning. Does not include Louisville officially. It starts around Bullitt County, Spencer County, Meade and Perry, and drops south. The difference in this, mainly criteria, which the benchmark is 4 inches. Confidence on getting to 4 inches. Weather Service didn't feel as high right now for the Louisville area in southern Indiana. So it's a winter weather advisory. That's roughly about a 2 to 3 inch type of event. And this kicks in at 7 o'clock tonight officially is when this will all start. I'll show you the timing on Futurecast when we think it will begin snowing. The winter storm warning, again, is a minimum of 4, but you can obviously get higher than that. Will this change? It's always the biggest question. Will Louisville be added? It's possible. Usually those are very short-term decisions. I think it's really by the time we get to that point of a county being added or subtracted, whatever the case may be, as far as moving this around, you're already in the event at that point. I think it's more just focusing on the outlook on amounts, and don't get too caught up on the alerts that you're seeing on the screen, because that can get a little confusing at times, because snow just does not follow boundaries, right? It doesn't really follow, oh, wait a minute, this is an advisory area, I got to go this way. I can't put 4 inches there in that county. It doesn't work like that. So there will be at times, there'll be a bit of a wavy snow as it moves on by, some heavier bands. So there's a chance that everyone can get kind of varying amounts there. Even those of you in the warning area, you may not get 4. It wouldn't surprise me, a pocket or two may only get 2 inches of snow mixed into that. So, but this is a good playbook for now to go by. Okay, so here's Futurecast. It shows the current round. Let me back that up so you can see the current round of snow moving through. All right, our break this afternoon, other than flurries. All right, we're going to have some time to where we don't have to deal with an accumulating snow outside. So at that point, treatment, most of the main roads we're doing fairly well. It's just your side roads, your neighborhoods are going to be slick. So anything untreated, be careful as you venture out if you have to this afternoon. But if there's a window where you need to get out, or you're watching from work right now and you're worried about getting home this afternoon, you should be able to. It'll be really into the evening that the snow then takes over. By the time we get to that 8, 9 o'clock window tonight, I hope you're already sitting down, enjoying some supper and watching TV. I'm sure Kevin and Ryan will probably be on where I'm standing right now doing a live update tonight about this time. So it should be snowing when they're on this evening as that snow band moves in. You'll be able to see at times some of the darker blues that indicate the more moderate to occasionally heavy snow. It could get heavy at times. The snowfall rates that I was looking at was about an average of a ½ inch to just under an inch per hour, which is decent. Don't get me wrong, but the majority of the time, I think closer to ½ inch per hour, which is not overly heavy. I would say it's a moderate snow, but still it'll be a decent amount. Very similar almost to what we've got in parts of Harrison County right now, moving into Louisville, where it's a steady snowfall. And with it not having a lot of wind with the system, a lot of that snow is going to be falling straight down. Very pretty. It's whenever you get that wind that blows sideways, I don't think it's as pretty then, because you can't see the individual flakes as you can't appreciate them as much. When they're falling straight down, it just looks a little more dramatic out the window. Very pretty scene. That's the way it'll be tonight. All right. You don't have to travel tonight, though. Don't. As you see the numbers in the teens. Steady snow will continue through about rush hour tomorrow morning. At that point, we'll begin to dial things back on that. At that point as well, the roads will be slick. Now, with it being overnight, road crews have an advantage. They'll have the ability to do a lot of salting and plowing, applying more of the calcium chloride down to try to do their best to get the main roads in good shape before we get to the morning rush. But side roads, neighborhoods may be a different story. So I don't make the call on schools, but at this point, I don't think it looks good for a lot of school systems just because of side road issues, and still got the flooding that's going on too. And some of these outlying communities where the rivers are high enough, they're impacting some of the paths and roadways that school buses would need to take. So there's still an ongoing issue there. So it's a very odd setup this week, dealing with 2 different weather events impacting us in a big way there. Okay, as I mentioned, we get past this round of snow into Wednesday morning. A few flurries may linger throughout the rest of Wednesday, tomorrow, daytime, but as far as an accumulating snow, we should be able to see a break from that. So how much could we get from that? I'll show you in just a second on the accumulation part, because then we have another round, the final round, which will be later Wednesday night. This has been speeding up. It was looking like roughly 8 or 9 a.m. Thursday, and now it's speeding up to be a little more into Wednesday evening, late evening, around 11 o'clock, midnight. This one will just develop. This has got a challenge to it because it will actually just pop right over us and then head to the east. So we got to figure out how heavy will it be when it does develop and how fast will it move to the east. So the accumulation map there for Wednesday night into Thursday, a little more in question there. And then we're just going to get some sunshine slowly on Thursday, and very, very cold into the single digits, especially as we get into Friday morning. Got a feeling we're going to get cold weather advisories the way this is starting to trend. Hi, Myron. Sorry. Hi. How you doing? Missed you. Yeah, missed you too. You doing all right? Yeah, doing good. Are you on after me?
Yes.
Okay. You got a presser?
Yes.
Okay. Mayors come out 10? 10. All right, guys, got a presser coming up, so I got to move along here pretty quick. Okay, let me show you the modeling, and you can see that most of them have the heavier amounts to the south across the parkways. There's the NAM, there's the graph, There's the HER model, very similar storyline with this. The euro is actually one of the ones that is lower, but you see the split that happens where it has that transfer over to the other low and it decreases right in the middle. Yeah, you see the problem with that. All right, so as far as snowfall goes, our outlook hasn't really changed. We're still going to go with just enough moisture to get at least several 3 to maybe 4 inch totals into the Louisville area. Once you cross into central Kentucky, I think 4 to 6 is a very good bet in central Kentucky Inland Parkway. It's a wide spread, 4 to 6. Could some of you get a 6.2 or a 6.8? That's possible. So we put you in that 6 to 8 range, although I don't know if we're going to get a lot of 8 inch totals. I think that's going to be pretty rare. I think 6 to 6.5 may be a little more common, but still, this looks to be a central Kentucky blast of snow. It's really the I-64 area and near Louisville. A little questionable on the plus or minus being above or below that 4 inch mark. Still a decent snow, not a crippling snow, but a decent snowfall. And then on Thursday's wave, or late Wednesday night and Thursday, an additional up to an inch, maybe a little higher to the east is possible. And then we get into the deep freeze after that. And there is a chance to get perhaps some light snow in here at some point as we head into Saturday. But right now, I think overall we should be warming up as we head into next week. Slowly. It may not be a dramatic warm up, but getting above freezing. All right, let me show you real quick. Here's the 10-day. I got spammers. Sorry about that. I didn't see them. Sorry about that. Let me show you the 10-day real quick. You can see the highs again in the 20s coming into play. And then you got those single digits at night. Friday morning, again, wind chills could easily drop below 0. And then we'll just see how we thaw out into the extended. All right, guys, got to run for now. Again, Myra's about ready to cover you guys for the press conference with Mayor Greenberg about what's happening with the winter weather preps and set up outside. And we'll have more on that coming up here in just a few minutes. Have a good rest of the day. I'll see you guys come up live on midday.